Hey guys, so I wanted to quickly talk to you guys about how living client to client is the new living paycheck to paycheck, even though we all own businesses. And I really wanted to talk about why that's a problem, specifically because um, you didn't get into entrepreneurship to be living client to client. And if you've never lived paycheck to paycheck or you don't understand what I mean by that phrase, living paycheck to paycheck is essentially kind of, hey guys, on Facebook. I'm on both Facebook and Instagram, by the way, so I'll be talking on both. But living paycheck to paycheck is basically when you are literally waiting on your next paycheck to be able to pay your living expenses, to live your life, to live the lifestyle that you have. So typically, if you're working for an employer, you get paid basically every 2 weeks for the most part on average, especially if you live in the United States. And every 2 weeks, you have different bills that are due in that time frame, right? So that's you living paycheck to paycheck because you're waiting for that next paycheck in order for you to be able to sustain your lifestyle, to pay your bills. Most people have to live that lifestyle. There are people who, of course, have more money because they have disposable income. Maybe they make enough income at work or whatever the case may be. So now, when it comes to living client to client, it's the same phenomenon. You're basically waiting for clients. You have to get clients every single month because when you don't get clients every single month, you are out of income, right? And there are so many business owners who depend on consistently having to get leads every single month and to fill that pipeline with leads every single month. Because if they do not, they will be out of income that next month. They have no predictability in their income with and profitability with their business. And the reason I wanted to have, she said, calling people out. Lexi, I have to call people out because I don't think that most people consider this type of lifestyle in your business as living essentially paycheck to paycheck. Um, I'm going to give a little bit of backstory on why I wanted to have this conversations because I was thinking about like the 2020 and like my business and kind of where I used to be income wise. So I was in this business. I was actually consistently getting clients, especially last year. Like I was getting a lot of referrals from people. So I was getting clients every single month. But at the end of the day, I was only bringing in like maybe like $1,000 to $2,000 a month, if that. And even in the beginning of this year, I was still kind of bringing in like that $3,000 to $4,000 a month. And when that was over, because I didn't have any long-term contracts and I wasn't really making that much money per client, I was still desperately trying to rack up more clients the next month. And I would be stressed every single month because of the fact that I wasn't making enough money in my business. This is also why I was still working my full-time job up until July. It's because I really wasn't making enough income in my business to sustain my home or my lifestyle, to go out with my friends if, whenever COVID was going to be over. Like I just wasn't going to be able to do those things because I really wasn't bringing in enough income in my business. Do you guys experience this right now? I assume that you do, or you wouldn't be here. This title wouldn't have intrigued you enough to take a look. Lexi's like, this is me going from client to client. And that's very normal, Lexi. I feel like in the beginning of your business, you're going to be going from client to client. You're relying on the next client to come in. It's why, especially if you're a service-based entrepreneur, because typically your services really only, like Manal says, this is me too. Typically as a service-based entrepreneur, these are short-term projects. Persephone's like, yeah. Typically as a service-based entrepreneur, your service is a short term. It's you're doing a website, you're doing a photo shoot, you are setting up someone's system, you are doing something that lasts for a very short period of time. So the thing that I want you to realize is that it's because you're not making enough money per person. That's the first problem. The first problem, it's okay to want to work with just individual clients and offer a done for you service. I used to be a designer. You guys know, and some of you may not know this, but most of this year, half of this year, I was still a designer primarily, right? Which means I have one design client. I know that project's basically going to be over in 2 months, and then that's it. And if I want to keep making money, I have to keep getting clients all the time, which is very stressful. It's very, very stressful. And I knew that I needed to find a way to increase my income or get more referrals. Like basically, you're having to find solutions every single month to your income problem. And that's when the stress comes in. You're stressed out about your launches. This is when you're not able to like really enjoy your business or feel safe in your business. And it's because you're constantly in the mode of, I have to get more people. This is when you start accepting any client at any pay rate because you're just happy to close that deal, right? This is when I feel like most entrepreneurs get the wrong clients. It's because you're like, I just need someone. And you guys are probably feeling me right now. You're probably like, yes. The topic today is I'm talking about how living client to client is basically like living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm going to share today about how that looks in your business, how it might look in your current business, and how to kind of move on beyond that. Yeah, Lexi, you don't feel safe in your business. And what I meant by not feeling safe in your business is it doesn't feel safe if you don't know where your next income is coming in, if you're going to make the income that you need next month. And when you don't feel safe, it's when you keep your full-time job. You keep the securities of things that make you feel safe. So again, that full-time job that you probably have that maybe you don't really want to work at anymore. You continue to stay in that relationship because that person's helping you to live the lifestyle that you want. You continue to lower your prices because people buy from you when the prices are lower, which means you're at least getting customers, right? These are the things that I feel like make you feel safe in your business. It's not getting you out of the situation, but you really are still feeling at least safe in your business. Customizing offers, exactly. Persephone, you know I talk about not customizing your offers all the time. All of these things make you feel safe as an entrepreneur, and so you keep doing them. And this is something that I really feel like I was doing in my business for a long time. I feel like because it was safe for me to have the lower prices and people were buying up, buying logos, always signing up for my service, referring me to 20 of their friends, that made me feel very safe in my business. And I was bringing in income, right? But then at the end of the day, when I looked at my books, I was still only bringing in like $2,000, $3,000, maybe $4,000, which is great. I'm not knocking anyone who's making $4,000, but if I'm being honest, $4,000 isn't going to pay the student loan debt that I have. It wasn't going to let me move into that city in the apartment that I really wanted to do. I was having problems with my husband. I wanted to leave him, but if I was being honest, he's the person that was paying the most for all the things in our home. He's the reason I was living the lifestyle. So I felt unsafe, not unsafe in my relationship, but unsafe in my business. I felt like I didn't feel secure enough to leave that job, the job that I hated. My job was great. It brought me income. I want you guys to know that I am very, very, very grateful for having a full-time job, having the benefits, having health insurance, all of those things. Those things made me feel safe, but I wasn't really happy. Lexi said, this is so helpful for me because that's me. After I pay everything in my business, I wasn't making enough. And that's the same thing for work, right? Like I was making just enough to have barely disposable income, but I had no savings. Some of the things that you'll feel like are symptoms if you're living client to client, guys, is you, at the end of the month, you still have nothing to show for it as far as savings, right? You're still having to work a full-time job to sustain the lifestyle that you want. You don't have enough disposable income to do the things that you actually really want to do. Going on fancy dinners, paying for services that you need, hiring that coach that you want to have. You don't feel safe to do those things. You're still offering kind of every service under the sun, even the ones that you hate, because those are the ones that get the bills paid. You're still accepting clients that don't fit your business where you're trying to go. They're not your ideal clients. They're not even people you really like working with, but they're paying the bills. These are all symptoms of you living client to client, because if you were not living client to client, you would not be relying on people that you didn't like, didn't really want to work with. You would be working with people that actually brought you joy. You would be experiencing the income that you needed for at least profitability. At the very least, you need profitability in your business. I'm not saying you have to be one of these people that I make multi-six figures, but if you're not profitable in your business, meaning that after you pay all of your personal expenses and your business expenses, you still have money to show for it. If you do not have that, then you are not safe in your business and you are probably living client to client. She said, it's like a rat race in that sense. Exactly. You're fighting every single day. I think, well, the point that I kind of want to get to when you're experiencing these symptoms is remembering why you got into entrepreneurship in the first place, right? I personally got into entrepreneurship because I wanted the freedom, right? I wanted the freedom to take off when I want. I wanted to be able to travel and not check, my damn phone the whole time. I wanted to take off whenever I wanted to and not have to ask for permission. But I also wanted to work with people in industries that I thought was cool. Like, I remember being a designer, I really wanted to work with fashion companies and all these cool businesses, but I really wasn't getting those people. But I thought if I was working for myself, because I could control my time and my finances, that I would be able to control that situation. Wild Heart Beauty says, as a new online coaching business, I feel like I will be working client to client. True. This is the point. So I'm glad that you brought this up. She said that because she's new, she's probably going to be working client to client. No, you do not have to. One of the things that I had to overcome in my business is that I needed to do something that was going to bring the quickest results without me having to be like an aggressive salesperson. Because right now, because you're living client to client, you have to sell all the time. And most of you, I'm going to assume, don't come from sales backgrounds. Personally, I did not. Do any of you come from like a sales background, or is sales also something new? So not only are you starting a new business and trying to learn how to market as a new business owner, but now you have to suddenly become some sales master. Because for me, that was brand new. I've always been a marketing person. I've been marketing for 14 years. As a marketing person, we are the people who basically throw the alley-oop. If you guys play, I used to play basketball. I'm the person that throws the ball, and then the Michael Jordan comes and dunks the ball because he's the person that closes the deal. That's me. Lexi's like, I'm over here working client to client. Okay, so you, Wild Heart Beauty, you come from a sales background. Most people don't. Lexi's like, no, I'm a former therapist. Sales is not my forte. For me, sales wasn't. Persephone said, no marketing or sales experience. Exactly. So people like you guys, people like us, it's very difficult to not only have to learn to be an entrepreneur, but also have to learn how to do sales on a regular basis. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to sell every single day and get on a 72,000 sales calls, knowing that I don't want to work with half of those people. And so the thing that I want you guys to focus on next year for 2021 is your pricing, because you're not making enough money per client, which is why you have to take on so many, or you're so desperate to get too many or more clients. It's because your pricing structure isn't where it needs to be for profitability. This is something that I learned really early this year, that my pricing structure was actually really piss poor. Last year it was shitty. I went from shitty to piss poor, which is an upgrade, right? So last year I was charging like $300 for a logo, like something really stupid, $600 for a whole website that took me hours and hours to do. And so when I came into January of this year, New Year's resolution time, I was like, okay, I'm going to increase my prices to $1,800 for a website. And I'm no longer just doing logos because it wasn't profitable for me. This felt like an upgrade to me, but still at the end of the day, that only increased me from like $1,000 a month in income, which is basically what I was making all of last year, to $4,000. But $4,000 really only pays my bills. If I'm being honest, that only pays my bills. That was not the profitable lifestyle that I wanted to have. And I'm still technically living paycheck to paycheck or client to client. And I still had to have my damn full-time job. Security wise, I wasn't going to be able to take on my own health insurance, if I was being honest. I was never going to get my own apartment in the city. I was going to still always have to rely on my husband. And again, I was in a relationship at the time where it really wasn't working out, and I still had to be with him because I had nothing else to fall back on. I still have student loans, and I was never going to be able to have a savings and pay down the massive student loans that I have, because I could not make up my mind in college of what the hell I wanted to major in. These were all issues that were still existing because I would not change my pricing structure. Let me see what you guys are talking about here. In my meditation this morning, I felt called to review my pricing, and then I get on this IG and see you. Lexi, yay, no wonder you're super into this today. I feel like I need to get back to talking about pricing more. I give a lot of tips on how to improve your pricing, increase your pricing, how to feel confident in your pricing. But I need people to realize that pricing is a big part of their problems first. And most people don't think it's pricing. They're like, I'm getting the wrong people. I'm not getting enough followers on Instagram. I'm not posting enough. And I'm like, no, most of that isn't just your problem. A big problem extends from your pricing structure. Not sure if this response can be prioritized at a different time. And I'm wondering how you feel about pricing initial consultations or discovery calls to better connect with the right clients. So Persephone asked, how do you feel about pricing initial consultations or discovery calls to better connect with the right clients? You should not have to wait until your sales call, guys, to connect with the right clients. That process should happen through your content and through your pre-qualification process, which is something that I definitely teach in my coaching programs. Your sale should be basically 90% of the way done before you've ever wasted your time on a sales conversation with someone. The reason being is because you should have qualifiers for what it takes to work with you, who you want to work with, and who that person needs to be, their characteristics, how they look, how they act, how they behave, what problems they're experiencing. You need to know all of those things before even getting on a call with that person, because that call isn't about you telling them and convincing them that you're a good coach and they should work with you. That call is about them deciding what steps that you guys need to take together and if that aligns with the program that you said you're offering right now. It's not to customize your offer on that call. It's not to convince them that you're good, because your content should convince them that you're good at what you do. Your sales page, your application should do all of that work before you get on the call. So those initial consultations really aren't consultations. They are, hey, are you going to, is this program in alignment with what your ultimate goals are? And if so, are you ready to invest in it right now today? Doctors and people like that are doing plastic surgery, they don't have all of these processes because it's medical. Those people have to do a little bit of a consultation process. But if you're doing a consultation with a lawyer, and I can tell you guys, I've been doing a lot of research with professional services because of the end of my relationship this year, you have to pay money just to get on a call with those people. If you, and I expected it, I didn't think anything of the fact that I had to pay $150 to talk to someone to see if they were a good fit for me, because I know that lawyers cost a lot of money. So people come into your consultations with the expectation of how much your service should cost. And when you guys are undervaluing how much your stuff should cost, people are coming in very confused. Like, why is this so cheap? If a lawyer didn't ask me to pay any less than $150 an hour, I'm like, did you even learn anything in college? Like, why are you not charging enough? You're a lawyer. I expect to invest in you. And when I don't have to invest in you, now I'm questioning you. I'm not questioning my pockets. I'm questioning you. So anyway, I hope that answers a little bit of that question or that comment, Persephone. Girl, I feel this message. Every single thing you're saying is me. Yes, Lexi. Wanting to move, needing a partner to financially help, wanting to pay student loans, all of it. Yes. So these are things that you're experiencing in your business. And it's what I was experiencing. So the unique challenges that I had to overcome, and I'm going to read this off because I kind of was typing up my notes, is I was working a full-time job. So my time was already limited and I needed to make improvements in my business, right? Because most of the time when you're not increasing your prices, it's not just that you don't have confidence in the fact that people are going to even pay the damn price. It's that really you haven't really vetted out your offer well enough to feel confident in even selling it. You don't know how to sell it. You're not attracting the right people. So now they're saying they don't want it. And now that's taking away from your confidence. And so one of the big things that I needed to overcome is the fact that I wasn't going to get more time. So I needed to have things like my branding and my messaging doing the work for me. This is kind of why I was saying to Persephone earlier, you have to do the work on the back end so that pricing isn't an issue, because regardless of how great you've made your offer, which you should make it great, you still have to price for profitability. Does that make sense, guys? No matter what you do, whatever you're offering, it still has to start off by being priced for profitability. Nothing else matters. Now you're filling in the gaps. You price first for profitability. I want to offer this thing. This is a problem I know I can solve. This is how much it has to cost, because this is how much time I have to dedicate to it and resources, right? And this is how very unique my offer is going to be. And then you have to work backwards. Well, who is going to be best helped and served by this offer? What needs to be included for them to get to the promised land? And I'm saying at the end of the day, I promise you that you will achieve this thing by working with me, by letting me do this service for you, by coaching you. This is what I'm promising you. What needs to happen in that service for them to see that value? And then speak to them on their problem so that they see that value. They see that they have the problem that you're promising you can solve, and how that problem came to be and how you can help them overcome the problem. Lexi says, I'm so happy you're sharing what you experienced, because it makes it clear to me that these are problems. I'm not recognizing our problems. Yeah, most of the time people aren't recognizing the problems. When you guys are doing content, this is something I talk about. People need to first recognize that they have a problem. I made the analogy of people who are going to like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step that they have to go through before they can move on to the other 11 of the 12 steps is admitting that they have a problem. your target audience, and you guys are probably some of my target audience, most of you are experiencing symptoms. My following isn't growing. I'm not getting enough leads. When I do get leads, they're not the right leads. When I do tell them my price, they're not paying it. These are just pain points that you're experiencing. And it's the same for your ideal clients. If all of your content is just speaking to pain points, they already know they have the pain points. What they don't recognize is the bigger picture problem that's stopping them from hitting their ultimate goals. And it's your job through your content to really teach them that. But back to the point of this conversation, you are living client to client because you have relied on a lower price point that doesn't suit, first of all, the amount of effort that you're making in your business and isn't allowing you to be profitable to get to that safe space where you have predictability. I knew that I could join a new coaching program. I joined it in September, and I knew I didn't need any new clients through December because I had contracts with people and I knew exactly how much money. I still hit 5-figure months every single month without needing to take on new clients. I didn't even launch my last program until the end of last month. So in the middle of Thanksgiving, I finally launched my current new group coaching program. But before I launched that, I still knew I was going to have 5-figure months every single month. And that's what makes me feel safe. What made me feel safe before was also making me unhappy. What made me feel safe was keeping a job that I needed just because it was paying the bills. That is the safety that I do not wish to continue on, because that's why I got into entrepreneurship, right? You got into entrepreneurship not just to feel safe, but to feel happy. And profitability is the way to feel safe. And you need to be profitable at the thing that you actually want to do, working with people who you actually are motivated to work with. Or else you're putting yourself back in a space of misery. Honestly, I was pretty miserable. I had a great job. I was working for a Fortune 250, which was nice. I was making $65,000 a year as my salary. I got a bonus every quarter for hitting goals, which I always do. I was a regional marketing manager. So it was a nice title, nice company, excellent benefits. I was still unhappy. And I know these are first world problems, but they are problems to me. And I knew that I had to work up my business enough to the point where I was going to be making the money, and I needed more money, right? You don't just need the money that you were making from your full-time job because the company is paying for the other half of your benefits. You don't have business expenses. Now you're an entrepreneur. So you basically need to double what you were making at work. And if some of you are thinking, well, damn, if I doubled what I was making at my job every single month, then I need a lot more money. I know that. This is why I'm talking to you guys today. I know you need a lot more money than what you're currently pulling per client. It's better to have a price point that is made for profitability and to build your content structure around selling it like that than to spend your time with what I would call Russian roulette of hoping that the next random person that hops on a sales call with you is the right fit, right? You want to make sure that coming in, every opportunity you have to close a sale is someone that is getting you 1/3 of the way to your profitability, not 1/116th, which is what you're doing when you lower your prices to below standard of what you should be charging, which is mostly what people are doing. She said, I will be saving this and watch. Oh, I'm sorry you have to go to work, but see you later. Thanks for joining. First world problems are definitely still problems. I have a coaching call in 4 minutes, and girl, you make me want to cancel the call because this is so good. I love it. Good to see you, Lexi. Thanks for joining. So the point that I was making today, guys, and the lessons that I learned that you can learn from the challenge of being in a position where you're either working a full-time job that's giving you the safety of the income that you need because your business isn't bringing in enough, you're not bringing in enough clients right now, or the fact that you are kind of overworking. So maybe you are pulling in clients. I would be saying, yes, it'd be safe. If you're pulling in a lot of clients, but you're so underpriced and overworked that you can't possibly, like, you're at capacity. If these are your issues right now, the lesson that I learned is that I needed to have strong content and visibility. I knew that it would build my brand faster, because the problem is people typically aren't willing to pay a lot of money. At first, you're attracting the wrong people, and second, if they don't trust you yet. And trust isn't just something that pops up overnight. Like, a lot of people are selling you a lot of quick fixes on how to hit the income goals that you have. And they're not telling you that your prices is too low. And they're not telling you that once you do increase your prices to the very scary levels that you don't want to increase them to because you're already having a hard time selling to people at the underpriced value that you're selling now. What people aren't telling you is that your content and your brand is what should sell it for you. And that's what I had to learn this year. So all this week, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about how that plays a role into your profitability of your business. But that's just the lesson that I wanted to share with you guys. So at any point in a launch, it should just be what suits your financial needs and value of expertise. Yeah, Wild Heart Beauty asked a great question. I'm going to repeat it because sometimes I have people on my Facebook Live. The comment and question is, so at any point in a launch, it should just be what suits your financial needs and the value of your expertise. You should, the foundation of your business offering should be who you want to help and what problem they have that you can solve through your expertise. So yes, your expertise is important, but the people are too, because at the end of the day, we should all be trying to affect change, like positive change in people, businesses, people, but we need to see people at the other end of our sales. When we see those people, we need to know what's plaguing them, because Tiana, this will be posted as a replay in the Facebook group as well. I know you guys, some of you have to hop. The start and the foundation is your mission. What was your mission? Why did you do this business in the first place? Wild Heart Beauty, I don't know your first name, but why did you come into business in the first place? Who did you want to help? And what expertise do you have? And once you know what that is, then yes, you have to price that offer for profitability and then sell that to the person that you already know so much about. You should know a lot about your target audience. You should know what their biggest pain points are. And then you should be able to understand that the delineation between those pain points is what problem? What's that problem? And then show them how you can help solve that problem. Show them why that problem exists. Help paint a picture of it. And that's when people talk about the buyer's journey. You guys have to do that through your content. But profitability is the number one goal. You cannot help these people that you so passionately want to help if you go out of business. You cannot help them successfully if you're staying up until 3 a.m. every single night because you have to work with 20 of them just to make ends meet. I learned that I'm not going to be around long enough to help all the people I want to help if I'm not making enough money to keep my business afloat. And you have to remember that too. The reason I specifically work with, female entrepreneurs, guys, is because women tend to forget profitability. We tend to forget the value that we bring. We're looking for approval of others and forgetting that we are amazing at what we do. Men do not blink or think twice about asking for a raise at work, but women do. And that's why we're underpaid, right? Entrepreneurship, I thought that coming into entrepreneurship would kind of close that gap, that income gap for females, but it doesn't. We ask for, I think, between 23% and 34% less than men when it comes to pricing our own businesses, our own expertise. And we are the main sex, women, females, especially women of color, but women altogether, we are the main ones who are too afraid to speak up for ourselves and ask for what we deserve based on the value that we're bringing. And this is the problem. And this is why I only want to work with women. Guys, y'all will be okay, because women are the ones that need to see that value. We are often attaching value to self-worth, and that has nothing to do with your business. Nothing to do with your business. Your value is not your self-worth and how confident, how beautiful you think you are, smart you think you are. It's the knowledge that you bring and the fact that you can, in fact, solve problems for people, because those things are facts. And when you think about your business from a factual, starting place, then the fact is you also have to be profitable. So you have to look at your finances and you have to price yourself for profitability, because that is also a fact. And when you think about your business that way and price yourself accordingly, then you now have to do the work to sell it at that valued price point, because that is where it needs to be. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I mean, I hope that this made sense. I had a question come up from someone that submitted, beforehand. So I do want to go over that question. This person said, how do you increase your price when your old customers refer you to the old price that you had? This was a question that was submitted to me yesterday, and it's a fantastic question. And if you guys have questions, you can ask them too. This is something that I experienced at the beginning of this year, because, and remember, I told you guys I was getting a lot of referrals. That was what I was relying on, because I was living client to client. And so the referrals were coming at my old price point. they were literally saying, she's affordable. I don't want anyone to refer me to anyone as affordable. I want them to refer me to them because of the value that I bring, not because I'm affordable. Because people that come to you based on your price only are price shopping, and they don't care about your specific value or what you're bringing to the table. They just want that thing done. And that's not something that they value, because people will invest in things that they really value. So when it comes to increasing your prices and then getting referrals from people that were at an old price point, I let the person know right away. And again, this is in my pre-qualification process, that my pricing is no longer at what that person was, coming to me for, because the value has changed. I've learned a lot since I was working with all these old clients at the old price point. I now have more value, and I have limited time now. That's what I tell the person, if they ask why the pricing has changed. But they can't come to you expecting old pricing. They really can't. I can't go to an apartment complex and be like, well, last year your prices were only, 800 for a 1 bedroom, and now it's, 900. I want to pay the old price. They're going to be like, then find another apartment. It's the same thing with your business. People don't get your old pricing. Whatever your current pricing is what the pricing is, and they have to pay that. Fresh Medley said, how do we get more visible and in front of the people we want to work with, especially with all of these changes in social? The biggest thing that I tell people is with visibility is video content. I rely heavily on video content for several reasons. The first reason is that video is giving you access to more accounts than your existing following has. The first is the algorithm with Instagram. It's already limited, and that's limited with every social network that's owned by fucking Facebook, right? So Facebook owns Facebook, they own Instagram. You have to be cognizant of the fact that they want you to pay to play, which means they want you to pay for visibility. And when you don't, then you have to fit nicely in with their algorithm, which is limiting your visibility, especially on like your Instagram feed, like 20% of your followers. If you only have 5 followers, then 20% of that is one person, right? So you do not want to be limited to your following, which may not be very high right now. And it's something that I learned really early on as a marketer. I told you guys I worked in marketing for 14 years. So what you need to do is overcome that. And the way to overcome that is video content, because things like Reels give you more access to people than you'll ever have just from your existing following. One of my Reels was seen by 10,000 people. I only have 5,000, maybe 6,000 followers now. And at the time I didn't even have that. So now I got exposure to an additional 5,000 people, and I know all 5,000 of my existing followers didn't see it. So I was getting exposure to more people. When you show up live, all of the people who don't typically see your stories for the day, you now move yourself to the front of the line. So every time you show up live, your little bubble is now the first few bubbles that people see. And if nobody else is going live at the same time, then you are the first bubble and the first story that anyone will see coming on Instagram. So you want to be someone that is seen first. They also last longer. The only thing that you can keep on your account that people see first are really your highlights, right? People see your highlights. So those stories that would have been gone in 24 hours now become something that lives on forever. You can make IGTV series. So visibility wise, Fresh Medley, video content is going to be your thing, because it's going to give you more exposure than you would have had. And also it's something that Instagram prioritizes. It's something that Facebook prioritizes. That's why I go live in both my Facebook group and on Instagram at the same time, because Facebook is valuing this. Ramp up the videos and then repurpose them elsewhere. Makes sense. Yes. You guys have any more questions for me about pricing? Today I have a group coaching session with my Empowered Profitable CEO group coaching program, ladies, and we're literally talking about pricing for profitability. What I do in my coaching programs is I actually have a pricing calculator that factors in your personal expenses, your business expenses, how much it costs for you to do any service that you offer, so that you are natural, and how much time you have to dedicate to what you're offering as a service or as a program. And then it helps you price for profitability based on facts. And leading up to this conversation in my program, we have been talking for the last month about making sure they really know their target audience, making sure that they know their unique value proposition, and that they created an actual product that will solve a problem that people will be willing to invest high ticket for. And so now that they've figured out what that structure needs to be, how that program needs to be laid out, what needs to be included for people to value it based on facts, right? Based on that target audience and everything that they need, that person, my clients, can help them with. Now they're going to price their offer for profitability because they have vetted out that offer so heavily over the last month with me. Is your program specific to designers or just more about scaling prices and such? My program is specifically about learning how to leverage authority building video content to sell your high ticket services and coaching programs without complicated marketing funnels. So one thing that I don't have time for, and most of you probably feel the same, is having to do all these crazy marketing funnels because I don't want to. I don't want to learn how to be a Facebook ads manager and a master of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all these other programs. And I don't want to have to be an email marketing expert. I don't want to have to learn all these different things. I want the simplest approach to getting the right clients the first time into my programs. And I know that that's through video content. And so this is what I teach in my program, how to sell. So it's not just designed. I do have some designers in my program, but most people kind of fit in the categories of done for you service-based entrepreneurs. So they probably are designers, they're photographers, they're social media managers, they're OBMs, they're VAs, or they're coaches, other coaches or other branding professionals, because typically branding people come to me as well. And I'm teaching them how to leverage the power of themselves in their content and showing up on camera like this, showing their face, and actually speaking on their expertise in a way that their target audience actually cares about. I think most people are telling you to show up on video and give them some tips and educate people. But if all you're doing is educating and literally just giving them step-by-steps on how to do things, people are just going to come to you as like you're Google for people. I don't want to be Google for people. I want to help them, empower them to change their lives and make their businesses better. I don't want to be their Google because they can go on Google for free. They don't need to pay me to be Google. They need me to help change their lives. And you really can't do that if you're not taking people on a journey of understanding their problems and how your solution will help solve their problem for good. Does that make sense? Yay! Shay, thank you. I'm like fresh medley. Shay, thank you so much. I'm glad that that was helpful. Any other questions, guys, that you have about what I talked about today? I know some of you kind of joined late. I will be posting the replay of this. But essentially, you're living client to client, if typically because your pricing is not where it needs to be. And so that doesn't give you any predictability in your income in your business. And so you're relying every single month on the stress of having to sell aggressively in order to possibly hit your income goals, which most people are not hitting their income goals. I'm glad that this helped today. Thank you so much for everybody who was able to join. I'm going to hop because I have to prepare for my group coaching session. For people who are questioning my program, the link is in my bio just to at least join the waitlist. It's about to open for, I don't call my calls discovery calls, they're compatibility calls. It's to see if you're even compatible for the program. I don't take on people who aren't a good fit. And so the compatibility call really gives you an opportunity to see if the problems that you're having in your business actually align with my program, if it's something that you want to invest in, and if you want to be a part of it. And before you get on that compatibility call, you actually get a business health assessment. I have a profitable business health assessment that I allow you to take before the call to, again, walk you through my entire program and my framework to show you this is what I'm going to be teaching you. Are you willing to get on video? If so, do you already know these things? Because if you already know a lot of these things, you don't need to join my program. It's not going to help you become better, but it's going to show you if what I'm teaching is going to be unique to what you've never learned before. And if it is, then that's telling you that it's in alignment with your needs. And I feel like every coach should be doing this. I wasn't doing benchmark assessments before. And then that's when you get the wrong people in your program and they're unhappy. They're confused by the way you're teaching. And it's like, you wouldn't be confused if you knew more about my program. So I am very, very transparent with what I'm teaching in my programs. I don't care if someone tries to copy it. I'm like, you need to know every single inch of my program to see if it fits. Yeah, one more question, go ahead. So anyway, for those of you who are questioning that, just go ahead and it's a quick little form to get on the wait list. There's not some special thing about being on the wait list. It's just that the applications are not open because it was the holidays, but I'm opening them back up in like a week. Do you think it's best to put your prices on your website? Abso-friggin-lutely. I don't know when this whole phenomenon of hide your prices started. And a lot of it's because people think, oh, well, my competitors are going to see my pricing and try to undercut me or charge less than me. And who cares, right? Because you don't want people who are price shopping, because that makes you like a commodity. If they see you as a commodity, and what I mean by commodities, I price shop for like internet, I price shop for cell phone service providers, because ultimately they basically all have the same level of service. I just need to see which one is the cheapest, because that's what I want to spend my money on. I don't care if it's Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, whoever. I just want my phone to work. I want the iPhone that I want to have, and I want to be able to make calls. And if I can do that, I would be happy to go with whoever is the cheapest. In my case, it's T-Mobile, and that's who I went with. I was a Verizon customer for so long, spending all this money. And I'm like, at the end of the day, T-Mobile has just as much damn towers, so who cares, right? You don't want to be the person that they're like, who cares? There's a million designers. Why am I going to this designer? I can just price shop. No, you want the person who sees your design service and sees that you have like a white glove service that you're doing, where you're walking them through processes, you're giving them brand strategy. You want them to see that and be like, damn, now that's the designer I need. I don't need these other designers who are just throwing up a website, not doing no strategy, not helping me with my copy. No, I need this girl because this girl's processes are better. And that's when you do that, right? That's who you want. So yes, you want to put your prices, because one of the biggest reasons why people turn you down is price. You don't want to get on a call with someone knowing good and well that your prices is 10 grand, and this person has never seen 10 grand in their life. This person would never invest $10,000. Why do you want to get on the call with that person to convince them? You can't convince somebody who doesn't want to invest in you to invest in you. And you don't want them to get on the call only because your price is low or the price isn't there. It doesn't make any sense. So yes, I definitely recommend putting your prices on your website. um, let's see here. Shay said, I would rather have my prices there, or even a starting price. Exactly. So they have an idea and weed themselves out if needed. That's exactly, you guys have to remember, if you were a retail store, which I know you're not, but if you were a retail store, you don't go into the store. We look at the price tag. When you're shopping, don't you look at the damn price tag, right? You want to look at that first, because you know if you should be shopping in that section or not. I know if I look at the price tag at Mercedes or Aston Martin that the price tag is going to be high. I know what that price tag is, so I don't look stupid going up in the shop knowing I can't afford an Aston Martin. I need to take myself back to Mercedes, right? Or something lower. I need to go to Ford. I need to go to Honda. I don't know why you wouldn't want to include your prices. Either way, for me, it saves time instead of having to hop on a call to talk prices, wasted time. Exactly. I'm glad that that makes sense for you. One of the biggest things that's going to be a pre-qualifier is pricing. So you want to make sure that you're being as transparent with pricing, because you don't want, how bad do you think the person feels? Because I don't know about you, but I hate when some salesperson is working so hard for me and helping me and giving me the best customer service, and then they tell me the price and I can't afford it. You kind of walk out the store like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot my wallet. Let me go check my bank. Oh, I have to ask my husband. Like, you will give every excuse in the book because you feel shitty. You don't want people to feel shitty knowing they can't afford your service. Let them know what it is. Put them out of their misery. Because you want to pre-qualify them in a way where, again, they see that value in the first place. And that's all through your content. My content lets people know this is going to be a big investment. And one of the ways that if you don't want to say the exact price, some tips around getting around that is starting at price so that they have a range and know that, okay, this is probably a la carte, but this is where it starts. Give them a baseline so that they know, especially if you have different tiers. So that's one way to get around it. For coaching programs and things that may change price over time, and you don't want to have to remember to update your sales page, another thing that I do is I give people two options. I'll say, are you willing to make a 4-figure investment? So again, they're like, whoa, if they hear 4-figure investment, they're already spooked and they're not going to want my program. That doesn't mean that it's going to cost $9,000. My 4-figure investment isn't $9,000, but it's still a 4-figure investment. Or I'll say, or would you rather DIY it yourself with something that's cheaper, like a course? So now they come into it knowing, am I at course pricing or am I at one-on-one, coaching pricing? That gives them a baseline to understand what you're offering and if that's the right thing for them. Because if they can't afford a one-on-one coach, which is usually more expensive, then they have to go the route of a course or doing it themselves. So that's another way to get around it if that's something that you guys are concerned about, is figuring out how you want to position it where they understand that there's going to be a gap in pricing. There's an entry level and there's a high level. And if they want the high level, it's an investment. This is a good conversation. Any other questions from anybody? I will definitely post the recording. A few people have already asked about the recording. If you are feeling like your visibility is low and you really are not attracting the right people at your current underpriced price point, that still should not stop you from increasing your prices, but you do need to work on your visibility and your branding. Obviously, I'm going to tell you to work on your branding because I'm a branding person, but not just because I'm a branding person, because that is the thing that saved my business. I am not a sales master. I don't hate sales calls. I actually like the conversation, but I don't want to pressure someone into a sale. I'm not going to convince you to work with me. I feel like sales calls shouldn't be about convincing or tricking someone psychologically into working with you. It's about having a conversation to make sure that the program and that person and you and your style are in alignment. And so, with that kind of philosophy, if I'm not doing trickery, then I have to make sure that my content is working for me. And I need to make sure that I am selling what I'm trying to sell for weeks, for months, so that people can make an educated decision. So, you're welcome. You guys are so welcome. I appreciate those of you who always show up, who always value the content. This will be posted in a minute, and I'm gonna hop off to get ready for my coaching call with my people. So thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye, Facebook.